This recent video comes from a travel security source, and it displays proof that people's foreheads and arms are now reflecting light when they are viewed on this travel security black screen. But could this be a result of the COVID vaccines? Hey, this is Gabby Ray Talker here to present all of the evidence I have found of various clips that many people may find interesting concerning the topic of the mark of the beast and how it appears to relate to the COVID vaccines.
And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name.
So there is an escalation right now in the world. These bully tyrant governors and presidents and senators and congressmen, the Antichrist spirit is working right now with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish. The Bible calls it in 2 Thessalonians 2 and 7, the mystery of iniquity, or the sin of lawlessness. We must not comply with this end-time government. We must resist it.
If you know anything about the manifestation of the Antichrist, the man of sin, the Bible says he causes all. The Bible says in Revelation 13, and no one, look at verse 7, and no one may be able to buy or sell except one who has the mark or the name or the number of his name. See, it's not just the mark. It's the mark or the name. The word name, onoma in Greek, means nature, character, and authority.
Inventor, and one of the inventors of the Human Genome Project. He said that when he synthesized a gene or a genome, he and the other scientists were putting their names in there. I only knew about this because I heard it from his mouth in person.
One final way that's new and is promising is called the RNA vaccine. With RNA and DNA, instead of putting that shape in, you put instructions in the code to make that shape.
Instructions in the code to make that shape.
The objective of the current operation may indeed be to inoculate populations with a very special vaccine. Thus, the fear created by the pandemic would aim to force populations into a vaccine that UNESCO has provided warnings about and which is known to actually include nanochips, means of biometric identification, and liquid crystals. Mass vaccination is part of a first step towards this agenda, which has been enacted and is called ID 2020.
The inoculation is a guise to literally put metallic metals that are potentially magnetic to interact with satellites or cell towers with the human body. In other words, rather than using a cell phone, you can use your body and your cell phone for remotely testing, let's say, blood sugars or blood pressure or oxygen levels. And this is what the patent actually suggests that Pfizer took out, that was awarded just last month, August 31st of this year. Here again, in the patent, this is the conclusion that I came to, that it's the very first patent that shows up in a list of about 18,500 for the purpose of contact tracing of all, I believe, all vaccinated humans worldwide who will be or are now connected to the Internet of Things. Kind of like they're connecting cars. You don't have to be a driver. The car is going to be connected. This is done with the same technology. They can contact trace you and also have a certain degree, if not total control over your body. That's why everyone has to be inoculated.
That's right.
That's why when they have to be the carrier of this mark.
Carrier of this mark.
And this mark are cytotoxic, genotoxic, and magnetic toxic substances.
I think this whole pandemic from the beginning was about the vaccine. So I think all roads lead to the vaccine. and what it means. There are already places in Southeast Asia and Europe that are laying the groundwork for a compulsory vaccination, pushing this in a way where people's jobs and their education and their livelihood decide on a decision that's potentially fatal. And now they want to be in the church. Americans and people worldwide should be extraordinarily alarmed. But why do we have to have faulty vaccine immunity be the priority and have natural immunity not count? See, these types of things make me think that Whitney Webb is correct. This is actually about marking. The vaccine is a way of marking people. The vaccine is a way of marking people.
But it was all about the vaccine. And why the vaccine? Because of this very special vaccine that is not really a vaccine. It carries a software. Understand this? A software that will be introduced into the human body with which you can be connected to a computer.
That's like.
حياتك كرهتي product 078216222. Let me see.
Boom.
You got it?
What?
Something came up, yeah.
Hey guys, did you know that in Revelation 6 verse 2 it says that there's a man that comes on a white horse, he's wearing a crown, and he's carrying a bow, and he comes to conquer and conquering. Conquering and to conquer. Did you know that crown is Stephanos in the Greek, but in the Latin it is corona. It's a synonym to corona. So this writer is wearing a corona. And the bow, guess what the word is in the Greek? It's toxin. I'm not kidding, toxin. It's only used one place in all of Scripture, and that's it. And it indicates that this writer who's wearing the corona is coming and shooting poisonous arrows. When you combine those two words with the fact that mark, sharagma, comes from karasso, which means to sharpen to a point, you have a writer coming to deliver the mark of the beast under corona. The mark of the beast under corona by a toxin with a needle with a sharp point. 1 + 1 = 2.
I didn't mention one of the most exciting areas, dissolving microneedles, in which instead of being solid and having metal or ceramic, once they're put into the skin, the vaccine has been embedded or encapsulated in the matrix, a biocompatible, non-toxic substance that's, when it's dry, it's sharp enough to penetrate, but as it acquires the moisture from the skin, it dissolves and the vaccine or drug can start to do its job. And then once you pulled it out, there's nothing sharp left, even a microscopic projection of any kind. But for the most part, all of these devices I have mentioned and will be talking about are required to be sharp enough to penetrate through that outer barrier of the skin that's the key obstacle to achieve vaccination into the skin.
ID 2020 is a global strategic initiative aiming to help deliver against the United Nations sustainable goal of legal identity for all. There are 1.5 billion people in the world who don't have a legal identity. No legal identity means no bank account and social exclusion.
This ID 2020 alliance was formalized in May 2016 at the United Nations headquarters in New York and brings together for the ID 2020 agenda a private and public collective of governments, non-profit organizations, universities, more than 150 private sector companies, and 11 United Nations agencies, which have collaborated to develop and provide a unique digital identity for all humans by 2030, with political unity, global connectivity, an emerging technology, and a new model of identity. Thus, this biometric marking will be such as to establish total control of populations, an acknowledged goal of the New World Order touted in recent years by many political figures. And there are quotations in the document. Closely interlocking this digital identity with access to commerce and secure access systems. Translation: those who refuse to be implanted will no longer be able to sell or buy anything and will be completely marginalized.
And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name.
You won't be able to buy or sell Revelation 12 and 13.
New York will become the first American city to mandate coronavirus vaccines to attend indoor businesses. The system, similar to the Health Pass recently introduced in France, is aimed at curbing a surge in COVID cases.
The other day, and I was sitting with my Bible reading it, and the owner walked by and he said, "You're reading a great book." And I looked up and I said, "Please don't get the boom, okay?" And he said, "Too late, I already got it." And I said, "Why?" And he said, "Because they would not allow me to sell." Let that sink in. I would not have a business anymore. And then I go to
2021. Crowds are back with masks and social distancing, and COVID cases are back, up over 3,000 new infections a day.
But if you're unvaccinated, unfortunately, you will not be able to participate in many things.
From next month, anyone wanting to enjoy the Big Apple's indoor gyms, shows and restaurants will have to show proof of at least one jab.
It's time for people to see vaccination as literally necessary.
A new pandemic flashpoint. Vaccine passports. Proof that you've gotten the dose, turning from a public health must to a potential fast track to doing just about anything. Students returning to universities like Rutgers and Brown will need to show their vaccination records. The Miami Heat offering a vaccinated-only section for fans. And Norwegian Cruise Line became the first to say it'll require all passengers to prove they've been vaccinated.
Hi, I'm Reese Fabro, and I was denied access to Oahu Mexican Grill to dine in. Yesterday I went to Oahu Mexican Grill, and so I went to get food with my cousin from Okinawa, and he's visiting for here, and you apparently need a vaccination card to be part of, dining in. On the side it says you need to be fully vaccinated to dine in. On the other side it says city exemptions from the whole city of Honolulu, Hawaii, and when I finally went to order our food first, and we got our food, and they asked for my vaccination card. But the vaccination card is the only thing they were looking at. I have a negative COVID test. It was actually early on in that day. I went to Daniel K. Inouye Airport and took the test there. It came back 4 hours later, a negative result. So I thought it was fine to go eat and dine in at the restaurant. But as I finally get to the cashier, they made all of my food. I was denied access to dine in at the establishment.
So I'm just going to need your vaccination card and ID. Thank you very much.
When they first sign in, we have a way to verify their vaccine status or their 48-hour negative test.
But we are going to implement a vaccine passport for restaurants and bars and gyms and a whole lot of other places, requiring both patrons and employees.
If the request is approved by the state, everyone would be required to show a test or proof of vaccination at specific businesses.
To enter restaurants, bars, museums, theaters, and other indoor places. If you're not vaccinated, you'll need to show proof of a recent negative COVID test. The program takes effect on September 13th and will last 2 months. The city says if it doesn't see infection rates drop, they may move to implement mandatory vaccinations.
So the thing is, I'm very confused on the options that the Honolulu government gave me. You had two options. You had to get a vaccination card or show a proof of a negative result. So I got the negative result, went to the airport. It took me about an hour and a half to wait in line, and then I had to wait for the result about 6 hours later. So me spending the time and going through my negative test took some time out, and now I can't even eat in a restaurant. How confusing is that? They should have better guidelines for that.
Yeah, and that's why we didn't put the must be fully vaccinated.
Yeah, but it has to be a lot clearer than that, because if you're showing that sign right there that has the exemptions, then we are allowed to come in. But if it's just because of the owner, just kind of say or be clear about it that the owner decided to say only fully vaccinated.
Yeah, and I mean, that's why we didn't put the other poster up right next to it. So I'm sorry about that. There's nothing that I really can do. We're a small business. We're going to shut down if you tell us to shut down. We're scared of losing our liquor license, so we're just going to do whatever you want. And that's what happened with this. Like, we're in a panic. We just don't want any trouble with the Liquor Commission. And it almost feels like they're the bullies here, like they just go into a business and decide that you're not doing the correct thing and they shut you down.
Israel has already rolled out its Green Pass system.
people need to know what's happening here in Israel. Israel is leading the way in this vaccination. They want everyone vaccinated. That's the goal. Right now, if you don't take the vaccination, you're segregated in your job. Your employment's being threatened. There are principals of schools that are saying if your child's not vaccinated, they can not come to school. And all this is illegal. It's illegal by the law. And the government's doing nothing to step in and stop it. They're rolling over the rights of individuals to choose what goes in their body. The Prime Minister wants to make this the epicenter of the world, vaccine epicenter. He wants to move, and he will move Moderna and Pfizer factories here. And this will be the main distribution point. You cannot buy, sell, or travel in this country and have freedom unless you're vaccinated.
Hello to you. This video is in English because I want to describe you, the people of the world, what's been going on now in Israel. I want to describe you the life of a non-vaccinated people, a person in Israel today. So we are the people in Israel feel that one day we woke up to a nightmare. Our life has been destroyed. We woke up to a nightmare, which we have been kidnapped by our own government, and which sold us to be guinea pigs to an experimental vaccine that they want us to, they want us to donate, to give up our bodies and our souls. You cannot go to shop food in some stores if you're not vaccinated. You cannot enter malls and sit just for eating lunch just if you're not vaccinated. This is crazy, people. Now it's in our country. Now it's in Israel. Tomorrow it will be at your country. Tomorrow.
So from the second week of September, people may not be allowed to worship in churches and mosques without showing proof of their vaccination cards at the gates. Similarly, people will not be allowed to event centers or parties or receptions without showing proof of their vaccination cards at the gates of these occasions. We have made adequate arrangements with security to prevent anybody who does not have a vaccination card from accessing any of these events. Also, you will not be allowed to access banking services in Edo State from the middle of September if you have not been vaccinated. Beginning from the second week of September 2021, large gatherings as well as high traffic public and private places will only be accessed by persons who have proof of taking at least one dose of a COVID-19 vaccination.
When God called us to become Christian or minister, He did not tell us to preach vaccine. He told us to preach the gospel. And under the gospel, Jesus assured us that by His stripes we are healed.
Revelation, the 13th chapter and the 17th verse. No man might buy or sell, save, that is apocalyptic literature. They are forbidding us to go into places of business, restaurants, go into our jobs. People are being terminated because they are not vaxxed.
And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand, or in their foreheads.
Excuse me, on the left over here, we have individuals who are religious fundamentalists, religious fanatics, and this is the expression, RT-PCR, real-time PCR expression of the VMAT2 gene. So over here, we have individuals who are not particularly fundamentalist, not particularly religious, and you can see there's a much reduced expression of this particular gene, the VMAT2 gene. Another evidence that supports our hypothesis for the development of this approach. Our hypothesis is that these are fanatical people, that they have overexpression of the VMAT2 gene, and that by vaccinating them against this, will eliminate this behavior. By vaccinating them against this, will eliminate this behavior. It's essentially to turn a fanatic into a normal person. And we think that will have major effects.
If you want it in their brain and you can't figure out, you don't want to do surgery to plant it in their brain, if I want a product produced in your brain that may affect the way you think, the way you act, one route to that is through stem cells. If you're a quick brush up on your biology, stem cells are cells, they call them God cells. They can turn into anything. They hold the potential, unlike other cells in your body, to become anything you want them to become. And they can go find their home in the body and park there and do the work that you'd like them to do. You can infuse them, and they will find their way into the brain. So once you know that the technology is there to edit, splice, and program a cell, and the technology currently exists to administer it to somebody and have it go park anywhere you program it to go park, proliferate, and do its function, you can have things activated in other people's brains.
Why does it matter that the spike gets through the blood-brain barrier? Isn't that what we want it to do?
It's not just that it gets through it, it's that it opens it. And the brain is a special place. I think most humans can agree with that. And we really don't want to have bad stuff getting in there because it's kind of what makes us human. So opening up the blood-brain barrier, that's bad. And it can cause inflammation and all kinds of things, and the fluid shifts that occur.
Talked about were considered to be fiction, far away in the future. But ladies and gentlemen, excellencies, the future is already here. The future has begun. It's a new system. It changes us because it's a fusion of our physical, digital, and biological spheres. It's an integration of those spheres. Just think of sensors planted into our brains. The opportunities are immense, and we have to prepare ourselves already now.
This recent video comes from a travel security source, and it displays proof that people's foreheads and arms are now reflecting light when they are viewed on this travel security black screen. But could this be a result of the COVID vaccine?
A friend just reported she had one of those fake vaccine slave passports and went through the thing at the airport for an international flight. What they said to her is, "We know you didn't have the vaccine." You know why? Because they got stuff in there to track you.
Now have these amazing applications connected with biometric sensors to your body. They know exactly what you're doing with every tiny muscle. Well, I think this is maybe the most important thing to know about living right now in the 21st century, that we are now hackable animals. We have the technology to decipher how humans, or what you think, what you want, to predict human choices, to manipulate human desires. In ways which were never possible before.
This is clearly an electronic enslavement of humanity. It is clear that the pandemic will be used initially to implant coronavirus tests, to permit people to work, or to guarantee vaccination with chips being implanted during vaccination. Bill Gates' pronouncements clearly indicate this intention. The biochip subcutaneous electronic chip has very worrying aspects. The ability to influence the behavior of the chip bearer, manipulate and control crowds, ability to eliminate categories of people, reduce the world population, ability to permanently locate the bearer, exit civil liberties. These technologies exist.
But if you are not protecting your mind and your spirit, if you are not discerning what is going on, you may already be developing the nature of doing whatever they say do, whatever they tell me to do, I'm going to do, because that's what they're saying. And before you know it, they're going to say something that you are so far in, you won't be able to say no to.
Which, by the way, the vaccine takes away people's ability. Because of Bill Gates' agenda that is in Daniel 7:25, it takes away your ability to resist. It takes away your desire to be zealous and fanatical. Look at people that are vaccinated. They're like zombies. They're just wandering around with no goals. So we are commanded to resist.
You may already be programmed with the nature. You may already be functioning in the character. You may already have submitted your authority to his authority. And see, this is what is happening. They are going to slowly take away your authority.
Get vaccinated.
And, oh, you're not listening. And Jesus said, oh, but wait a minute, Bishop. What if we can't get food? What if we can't get food? What if... That's why God showed you he knows how to feed prophets with ravens that'll bring them bread and food in the morning and bread and food in the evening. He knows how to get you what you need. He said, behold, I give you power over all the power of the enemy. So no matter what he says,
get vaccinated.
You are not under his jurisdiction. You have been translated from the kingdom of darkness into the kingdom of God's dear Son. Stay with me. I need you to pay attention, children of God. I need you to hear me, because you are the only ones with the spiritual ability to discern the difference. And if you don't pay attention, what hope is there?
And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, If any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb.
MIT, under funding of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, has developed a quantum dot ink implant that can be monitored by a smartphone. And in 2020, World Patent Number 060606 was published by Microsoft Technology, titled Cryptocurrency System Using Body Activity Data. It outlines a technology wherein human body activity associated with a task provided to a user may be used in a mining process of a cryptocurrency system. The human is given an activity to accomplish, which is sent from a body sensor to the cloud and to the cryptocurrency system, rewarding the human with money.
It's a tattoo for the hand, which will include our identification mark and vaccination records.
Can be connected to the device that's now inside your body. So you are literally a walking Wi-Fi data gathering system. And this is talking about your brainwave patterns as well as most of your other bodily functions.
Eventually, what we'll have to have is certificates of who's a recovered person, who's a vaccinated person, because you don't want people moving around the world. So eventually there will be sort of this digital immunity proof that will help facilitate the global reopening up. Will bring us to the end of this.
And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast, and them that worshipped his image. These both were cast alive into a lake of fire burning with brimstone.
And the thing that'll get us back to the world that we had before coronavirus is the vaccine and getting that out to all 7 billion people.
No vaccine prevents you from getting infection. And you can't prevent it with a vaccine because they don't do the very thing you're wanting them to do.
And we have good news. We know that we can treat the symptoms of COVID-19 very successfully with vitamins D, C, and zinc, and with very safe medicines. And also, a vaccine is then also not necessary.
We're looking not, I believe, to lockdown, but we're looking to some pain and suffering in the future because we're seeing the cases go up, which is the reason why we keep saying over and over again, the solution to this is get vaccinated, and this would not be happening.
Explanation for why the numbers on Israel continue to look worse. They're now at the highest level of cases that they have ever been in any surge for a population that's 80% vaccinated and has administered the most booster shots. How do you explain that? And what can we learn from that so we don't follow that path as we have been following in this trajectory of the disease?
When you have such a fully vaccinated portion of your population, you will get breakthrough infections because of the reason I just mentioned. The vaccines are not 100%.
If you're vaccinated, even if you do catch the virus, quote unquote, like people talk about it in normal terms, you're an overwhelming, and not many people do. If you do, you're not likely to get sick. You're probably going to be symptomless. You're not going to be in a position where your life is in danger.
It looks like in many places, the majority of the people coming down with the virus are fully vaccinated. For example, the Department of Defense had about 2,000 so-called breakthrough COVID cases despite requiring all employees to be fully vaccinated.
While the vaccines provide strong protection for the vaccinated, we read about and hear about and we see the stories of hospitalized people on their deathbeds among the unvaccinated over the past few weeks. This is a pandemic of the unvaccinated.
This is no longer a pandemic of COVID-19, SARS-CoV-2. This is a pandemic of variants. The vaccinated are a threat to us all. However, amen, we must treat the vaccinated kindly, amen, with great empathy, amen, with prayer. The vaccinated are defenseless against variants.
But we will continue seeing new variants that are coming out, and also we will have vaccines that they will last at least a year.
Many of us are frustrated with Americans who are still not vaccinated, even though the vaccine is safe, effective.
The COVID-19 vaccines are not proven to be safe or effective.
Material containing the truth about the alleged disease and the vaccine is banned. Patients now having vaccines can't give informed consent because they aren't being informed.
I also firmly believe that there is no long-term safety data on any of the COVID vaccines. This means that they are essentially experimenting on us, which is against the d.u.m.b.s code. I will not be taking the vaccine.
This vaccine is just not proven safe. It has been developed too quickly. We have no idea what the long-term effects will be.
The vaccine has not been proven safe or effective, and I will not be taking and or recommending it because there is no safe vaccine, period.
This vaccine is experimental on the human race.
We want to alert you to the fact that the current COVID vaccines are an experimental product based on the injection of genetic material into our cells.
The vaccine is neither safe nor effective, and to give an untested vaccine to entire humanity and use them as guinea pigs is complete madness and nothing else, and we must stop it now.
We're increasing the availability of new medicines recommended by real doctors, not conspiracy theorists.
We saw the development in record time of a vaccine that is shown to be safe and effective. We want virtually everyone eligible to get this vaccine ultimately.
As confirmed today by Thomas Renz, they just filed federal papers in a lawsuit against the government. 45,000 confirmed dead from the COVID-19 shots within 3 days so far, and they've covered it up. 45,000. The VARS data has only reported 11,000, but there's 11 different report systems into the government. One of them alone has 45,000 that they have not released or told you. And Thomas Renz has got the paperwork, has the whistleblower, has the sworn affidavit, and they're actually already filed a lawsuit today. 45,000 confirmed dead from one reporting system.
Breaking news right here on the MG Show from Anaheim, California.
You might be confused about what is true and what is false about COVID-19.
Everyone should refuse to take these Franken shots. People try to force them on you. You say, no, these violate the Nuremberg Code on medical experimentation applied to the Nazis, and it would violate international criminal law. And I have a basic human right under international criminal law not to take these Franken shots, and I am not going to take them.
I know there's a lot of confusion and misinformation, but the world's leading scientists confirm that if you're fully vaccinated, your risk of severe illness from COVID-19 is very low. from doctors are showing that almost 45,000 people that got these vaccinations were dead in 72 hours. If you're vaccinated, you're not going to be hospitalized, you're not going to be in an ICU unit, and you're not going to die.
It's an astonishing statement. That's one powerful vaccine. But is it true? Well, according to reports, not just around the country, but around the world, not only is it not true, but it looks like in many places the majority of the people coming down with the virus are fully vaccinated. Let's take the state of Massachusetts, where over 5,100 breakthrough COVID cases have swept through the state, despite every patient being fully vaccinated. According to the Department of Public Health, so far at least 80 of them have died.
You're not going to die.
Or how about New Jersey, where some 84 rare breakthrough cases have been reported among the fully vaccinated. People Biden insists are immune thanks to the vaccine. At least 49 of those people died from the Chinese virus. What do you have to say about that, Joe?
Get vaccinated.
And then there's Illinois, where nearly 600 fully vaccinated people have been hospitalized for the Chinese virus. Another 159 people have died, despite having both doses of the vaccine.
You're not going to die.
And in case you think this is just happening in America, take a look at Singapore, where vaccinated people make up to 3/4 of all people coming down with the Chinese virus in the nation. 75%. What do you have to say about that, Joe?
Get vaccinated.
And the light of a candle shall shine no more at all in thee, and the voice of the bridegroom and of the bride shall be heard no more at all in thee, for thy merchants were the great men of the earth, for by thy sorceries were all nations deceived.
Revelation chapter 18 verse 23 says that by the sorceries of the world were all nations deceived. What does that word sorceries mean in the Greek, which the New Testament was translated into? That word sorceries means pharmakia. So by the pharmakia of the world were all nations deceived. What is the vaccine? It is a pharmaceutical. What does it specifically do? It is an mRNA vaccine. Secular society came out with that. And that's what's used as an experimental vaccine on people. I wouldn't even call it a vaccine. It's a death jab, honestly. Let's put it this way. People are running to it because of the incentives that it gives. But when it gets to the point where they say no man will be able to buy, nor sell, nor trade without it, just like they're starting to do in Denmark, we got another thing coming.
Abstain from all appearance of evil.
Part of the delivery system is a luciferase enzyme.
What if I told you that in Revelation chapter 13, verse 16 through 18, it talks about how the name of the beast would be within the mark, okay? It talks about anyone that takes the name of the beast, they are doomed to hell. In Isaiah chapter 14, verse 12 through 14, it is talking about Satan. It is talking about the devil. It is talking about the morning star. His name, according to the King James Version Bible, which modern translations have taken this out, is Lucifer. Well, if the name of the beast is within the mark, or it is the mark, what is one of the compounds within the vaccine? Oh, I don't know. Luciferase? I don't know. Maybe that's too coincidental. But personally, I ain't taking it because I know it's the mark of the beast. This is it, people. Get ready.
The Human Implantable Quantum Dot Microneedle Vaccination Delivery System, which will include our identification mark and vaccination records. It needs an enzyme called luciferase in order to make it work. The transhumanist agent on every person's hand will glow with the bioluminescence of the light bearer. A chip you cannot remove with a knife. This tracking system will alter your DNA, and it's permanent. 33rd degree Freemason and occultist Manly P. Hall once wrote, quote, "The seething energies of Lucifer are in his hands."
So I just wanted to make a quick tutorial on how to find this information on Moderna's site because it's very difficult to find. So you just want to go to their main site, as I did here, and in the top right-hand corner of the screen, you'll see a magnifying glass, a little search engine. Just type in patents, as I did here, and see where below search results it says patents in red. Click that. Then I want you to click US 10703-789. You're going to have to scroll down quite a ways to find this, but I tried to make it as obvious as possible when I reached the spot that it is. I didn't take note of the page number. I'm not sure if there are any watching it back here, but we are almost there. I kind of had to slow down to read a couple things to see where I was. And you're just going to keep scrolling. And pretty shortly, we're going to come up to table 4. And I'm going to zoom in here for you. And you see it right there under table 4, primers and probes, and you're going to see luciferase.
Listen, guys, now I'm really worried. This is where I got the shot, the second shot. Look at this. It's glowing. Now I go down my arm, and it gets worse. I have a little dot here, but the worst part, look at the vein in my hand. It glows. That is sick. What the hell is in this? What is in this shit?
From my vaccine today. Rosie, shine the light on me. Oh, I can't do it at the same time. Shine it there. Nearer to that dot. Oh, jeez, look at that. I've had my vaccine, Rosie. What do you think? What's happening? Come on, shine it on my hand. Oh my God. What have they put in that vaccine? Do you think I should have had the vaccine?
No.
You're not going to believe this. That is the icon for graphene. Yeah? That the evil EU have spent 10 billion on. What do you see there? 666. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6, 6, 6. This is it.
The world's population is being poisoned with a trendy material called graphene. More specifically with graphene oxide, introduced either in the vaccines against COVID in all its variants, influenza vaccines, new vaccines proposed in aerosol format, physiological sera, as well as through other routes of administration in mass, PCR tests, antigen tests.
There is graphene oxide in these shots.
100% it is, and it's irrefutable, and I'll walk you through it. So,
I'll just ask you, why would they put every other ingredient on the patent with the exception of the standalone graphene oxide? Why would they not put that on there?
I would say the number one reason is because it's poisonous to humans, and well known that it's poisonous to humans.
Okay.
Yeah, and the other reason is because it is the main ingredient in hydrogel, which is the liquid, AI template that's used for some of Elon Musk's, research and Bill Gates as far as that creating an interface between humans and, the internet. We're supposed to get boosters every 6 months. So we're going to get graphene oxide boosters every 6 months to see how much we can build up in the system. And so if you want to know what is graphene, what they explain here on Cinepeg is it is the core shell structured polyethylene glycol functionalized graphene for energy storage, polymer dielectrics, combined mechanical and dielectric performances. So what that means is that graphene is a conductor, it can be a conductor of electricity.
So I go on and take my vaccine shot, the first shot. Within 45 minutes, I feel something strange. I just feel like current generating in my body. So I decide to do something. Okay. I taken this bulb that lighting on this wall here. I taken it off the wall. Right. On my right arm, I did not take the vaccine shot. Right? So take a look at this. On my left arm, I take the vaccine shot and take a look at this. So what do you guys have to say about this?
यहाँ देखिए चल रहा है।
ये सबूत है कि इन्होंने माइक्रोचिप लगाई।
हाँ ये देखिए नहीं चल रहा है।
बताइए।
आपके नाम में बिल्कुल क्लियर है। ये देखिए जहाँ जगह है बिल्कुल वहीं चलता है और कहीं नहीं चलता।
I just went and got the COVID vaccine. You can see a little mark here. And I put this light bulb over the mark. Over the mark. Why is it doing this? Can somebody tell me? Everywhere else, nothing. Up here, where I got the shot, it's lit up. Isn't this crazy? Look at this. What did they shoot in me?
Why are they using this graphene oxide? It's a toxic substance. It's poisonous. Why are they using it?
Because it's a great conductor of electricity, and it can host a magnetic field. It can host a magnetic field.
You feel it? Like a pull? Okay.
Un imán se le pegó a la pierna a mi bebé. Voy a tratar de levantarlo. Vení, Julie. Y le queda pegado.
Cleveland doctor giving testimony at an Ohio State House Health Committee meeting today. Dr. Sherry Tenpenny testifying in favor of House Bill 248, which would keep a business or the government from requiring vaccinations.
But I'm sure you've seen the pictures all over the internet of people who've had these shots and now they're magnetized. They can put a key on their forehead, it sticks. They can put spoons and forks all over them and they can stick, because now we think that there's a metal piece to that. There's been people who've long suspected that there was some sort of an interface, yet to be defined, an interface between what's being injected in these shots and all of the 5G towers.
Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast. For it is the number of a man, and his number is 666.
Bill and Melinda Gates' patent 060606 in the book of Revelations. This is the mark of the beast.
Yesterday I said there's a new religion, new religious cult. For those who don't abide and bow and do an act of worship and inject the big V, this is the section that they're forcing the American people and under their jobs to take this. Under USC 666, under the Occupational Safe and Health Act of 1970. You see that? USC 666. Are you going to bow and do an act of worship, or are you going to be like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego?
Doesn't matter when. It doesn't matter whether it's in 6 minutes, 6 days, or 6 weeks. We're going to get it done. Why is it so challenging? Mr. President. Why is it Come on, man. Unite the party. I got it.
If anyone destroys God's temple, God will destroy him. For God's temple is holy, and you are that temple.
if humans receive this vaccine, will basically be genetically modified organisms. And also from a biblical standpoint, I knew that was inconsistent with my biblically held beliefs. God said in Genesis chapter 1 that he made man in his own image. I don't think a messenger RNA from a COVID virus is in God's own image. He also said in Psalms 139 that he fearlessly and wonderfully made us. God didn't make a mistake. He didn't accidentally leave out this genetic material from a virus to inject into humans. So from the get-go, I felt that by the design, that this vaccine violated the basic God design of humanity. But this is genetic material injected into humans, and the basic purpose of the genetic material is to produce protein, a foreign protein to our bodies from the virus, the spike protein, which is toxic to the human body. We've never done anything like this before.
CV vaccine will alter our DNA through an actual synthesizing of our individual genetic code using CRISPR technology, which acts as scissors by cutting DNA at a designated spot and removing or inserting a new sequence with an artificial code.
How dangerous is that when we start messing with God's creation?
Well, so let me read just a little definition of transhumanism. Transhumanism is a cultural and intellectual movement that believes that we can and should improve the human condition through the use of advanced technologies. One of the core concepts in transhumanist thinking is life extension. Through genetic engineering, nanotech, cloning, and other emerging technologies, eternal life may soon be possible. And so this is what they're after.
The Gilgamesh Project, the attempt to overcome disease, old age, and death, is the flagship of science. It serves to justify everything that science does. Whenever there is doubt, we just think about that and we say, okay, go on. So this is why we cannot stop the march of science and technology.
That seems to be a good explanation to me to explain why they beg for death, but death flees from them.
There's never been a vaccine like this. It is what's called transinfection. It will fundamentally change people's DNA. And what I don't like about it, even more than the usual thing about the toxic metals that are in vaccines that make our bodies literally into an antenna with 5G, this one has the usual non-human DNA, like, monkeys, maybe fetal cells, pigs, whatever. And so it begins to make us what's called chimers, C-H-I-M-E-R, introducing non-human DNA into our bodies.
Listen, if you take the vaccine, you can never change it. You will never be able to take it out of your body. It will alter you forever. What I just told you is not a Pastor Chris talk. I'm telling you. I'm telling you what the Spirit is telling you. So you better hear it. And even if you go to their sites, you understand what I'm telling you. Read for yourself. Don't be fooled. If you take it, you will never be able to change it. You will never be able to take it out of your body. You will never be able to alter it. It will change you fundamentally.
Also analyzed our human genome and found God's name in our genome over and over and over.
Every cell is controlled by DNA. DNA is a set of genetic information that defines the characteristics of living things. Researchers have discovered a sequence of numbers that is always repeated in human DNA. It would be a signature of God.
The net is formed by two parts, one from the mother and other from the father.
It has connections in all of it, just like bridges.
There is a pattern that repeats in all of it.
10, 5, 6, and 5. Again, this is the sequence. 10, 5, 6, 5. In Hebrew, each letter is equivalent to a number. And then, all the alphabet is equivalent. 1, 2, 3, 4. In our common alphabet, it would be the same as the letter A is equivalent to 1, B is equivalent to 2, C3, D4, and so. Let's see the Old Testament and the name of God. It's written by 4 letters in Hebrew. If we would count the name of the Creator as a sequence, the result is incredible. 10, 5, 6, 5. The name of the creator of the universe is what unites the both parts of our DNA cells.
As a scientist, that I had the opportunity to see the human genome, a piece of human DNA coded on my computer screen. And all the CTAG, it all rolled down through the screen. And my brain looked at that. And I remember thinking, I said, I don't know what that says, but there's a code. There's a language. That DNA is a language. And whatever that language is, it's inside of me, and it's inside of everyone that looks at it. And some intelligent being placed it there a long time ago.
Using all the technology at his disposal, Mr. Braden then began searching for the message encoded in our DNA.
The top layer in the DNA of all life literally translates into the words God eternal within the body. God eternal within the body. It makes perfect sense that that higher intelligence would have left the message encoded into the creation itself.
If you could actually change that, which we call the software of life, if you could introduce a line of code or change a line of code, it turns out that has profound implications for everything. And I'm here today to tell you that we're actually hacking the software of life.
Our species will disappear because it is going to upgrade itself into a completely different kind of being.
Christians don't get the vaccine at all. Pfizer, BioNTech, COVID-19 vaccine FDA. All right. BioNTech. German biotechnology company. What does biotechnology mean? It's technology that utilizes biological systems, living organisms, or parts of this to create different products, make changes to the organism's genetic material. This is what the fallen angels were doing. This is what people were doing pre-flood. If you get the vaccine, you're going along with the manipulation of DNA. And that is unacceptable to God. Period. He destroyed the world once for it. He's going to do it again. Don't get the vaccine.
Once you start taking the vaccine, your DNA changes and you cease to become human. There will come a point where you actually are not under the covenant of God because Christ died for human beings. He didn't die for hybrids. And that's a very important point that people are going to have to consider. There will come a time where you will willingly alter your genetics, and that at that point you will take what's called the mark of the beast and give allegiance to Lucifer, who's in charge of this whole demonic system.
He wants revenge against the human race because we took his place. God made man in his image and after his likeness. The shot actually affects your DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid. It actually changes the molecular structure of humans who are created in God's image and after his likeness. That's why the government is wanting to push this vaccine so heavily.
That is exactly what the Watchers were dedicated to doing, to driving out of existence those who had been made in God's image, right? The book of Genesis chapter 6, all flesh had become corrupt, only Noah, and therefore by extension his children were perfect. The Watchers came down, they began through intermarriage, through genetic manipulation, driving out of existence those who had been made in God's image, right? And that's the reason why then it would have cut off redemption. What we're doing right now has the potential to do exactly the same thing again, to create a proto-human that is irredeemable. The armies of Antichrist.
Jesus is coming.
Yes.
And we know
that is our hope.
Yes.
And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh.